Welcome back to another episode of Successful Entrepreneur Stories. My name is Desmond Soon, and I'm very excited to bring a guest on the show today. Now, this guest has a very challenging background. In fact, people told him that he would never be successful when he was young because of some of the disabilities that he encountered when he was growing up. He almost committed suicide at one point of his life. And then the light came on and he shifted his life. In fact, we share a mutual mentor together, and together we studied high income skills. At one point, I was even a co-mentor and I helped to coach him. But as he grew and stacked on his high income skills, he became the coach for me. At one point, I was even reaching out to him and asking him to help me in whether my public speaking, coaching, and in copywriting. He has become an extremely powerful individual in the copywriting space, in the positive thinking space. Help me welcome to the show, Adam Nassor.
Hi, thank you so much for the warm introduction, Desmond, and thank you so much for having me. It's awesome to be on with you.
Always a pleasure, Adam. And you and I are not strangers to being on camera. We have conducted trainings together. We have done interviews together. We've worked for many, many years together, Adam. But you have really transformed over the years. I mean, when I first met you, you were this hyper-talking individual, and I'll let you share that story. And then after that, you went through this transformation where you became a closer, you were focusing on sales, and then you went into copywriting, and you were one of the best students I ever saw. Now, you not only run a business that is in the multiple six figures, you work with multiple seven-figure entrepreneurs. Tell us your story. Let the viewers who are watching this, and by the way, if you're watching this video, comment below as we go through the video. Stick on all the way to the very end, because Adam's gonna give you some very actionable steps that you can implement in your business, in your journey, so that you can also overcome the challenges that you're having in your life right now. So if you're okay with that, type in the comments below, say, yes, I got it, and say, yes, I wanna ask Adam questions. Adam, let's get started. Tell the viewers about your story. Where were you born? What challenges did you have? How did you grow up to the man that you are now, the leader that you are, and the entrepreneur that you are now?
Gladly. So yeah, as you know, I was born autistic, but I was born in Bavaria in Germany. And at the time where I was born, autism was basically unknown. Nobody knew it, nobody diagnosed it until I was 19 years old. But the autism made me weird. I had no intuition. I was born without intuition. I was born without any understanding of social cues. And in kindergarten, that already triggers a few red flags, right? And kids are cruel. So I was beaten up in kindergarten. I was singled out. People tried to bully me at all times. I had maybe one friend. Then suddenly in elementary school, that changed because suddenly now everybody liked me because of my skin color. In kindergarten, they told me I'm the shit-skinned kid, right? Maybe you have to beep that. But basically, they called me I'm the shit-skinned kid because I was the only one that had non-white skin. Because my father came from Africa, right? And in elementary school, suddenly everybody loved the skin because it was different. And then came high school. And then my skin was a problem again. But this wasn't the only thing. Everybody was 11 years old now, 12 years old, which means obviously you are perfectly capable adult. You know everything there is to know about life, and everybody who is just the slightest bit childish has to be punished, right? And that happened to me. I was still running around with a 6-year-old, right? Even though I was 11 years old, like mentally they told me I'm like in the 9th grade, but psychologically I was basically still in elementary school. I like to play Pokemon, I still do, by the way, right? I loved all the things, and I did not have any interest in girls and motorcycles and cars and computers, and so people started to hate me. Also, a side effect of autism, I didn't like to speak with an accent. So therefore, I was speaking perfect High German while everybody else was speaking Bavarian German. And in Bavaria, you hate people who don't speak with the Bavarian accent. It's like a slight bit of racism. Now, with that slight bit of racism, there came the racism against my skin. And even the principal was a racist, like flat out racist. And so therefore, the bullying turned into sometimes like literal hate crimes. And when I was at the age of 12, I still remember it extremely vividly. It was the 6th grade, and it was the big break in school. And 5 boys came to me. They were all way stronger than I was. They were like in 10th grade or 9th grade, like maybe 17, 16 years old. And in front of everybody, they were grabbing me each boy on one limb. And the fifth one grabbed me in my junk in front of everybody. And in that moment, suddenly, I did not even know what that meant. Like, I was super oblivious to any kind of sexual things, but I felt inside something's wrong. And suddenly, like, this rage came up, like this adrenaline kicked in, and I was able to free myself. But this short moment, this short second, I had this clarity, and I was like, I have two choices. I can use this energy now and fight, or I can use this energy and run to live another day, because I don't know how long this rage will last. What if during the fight, suddenly it goes? And so I ran. And my father was a motivational speaker, so I had access to all the NLP books and conversational strategies. And I started to devour those, body language and all, and I suddenly noticed, wait a second. Everyone has a problem with me. So I'm the common denominator. So I'm the problem. So if I change, my problems change, right? And so I started to read all those self-development books, like Thinking Grow Rich, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, NLP, conversational techniques, all the things. And I noticed suddenly I was able to single it out. Like, I was able to mitigate the damage. I was able to win the people my bullies feared on my side. And there's a funny story, by the way, that like the school Nazi that beat me up and wanted to beat me senseless. I knew he was very afraid of one particular teacher. Unfortunately, he is dead since a few years now, but I love this teacher very much. And this bully was deathly afraid of this specific teacher. Now, I used my newfound skills and got the teacher on my side, and we had a conversation. And that teacher was very socially active and very tolerant, and he didn't accept that. Now, I watched as this teacher folded the guy, like, in such a small thing. Like, the guy, like this big bully, like, oh, right? He almost cried because of the onslaught this teacher was unleashing him for like 15 minutes straight. And after the conversation, every single morning he was waiting for me in front of school, but not to beat me up, but he was greeting me like this: "Good morning, Adam." It's like, good morning. And that showed me that just by the power of words and influence, I can change my problems. But I wasn't the only bullying victim. So I wanted to use this for others. I wanted to teach that, but they didn't get it because I learned it. I noticed that I have this ability from autism. A psychologist diagnosed it, that I have the ability to very quickly understand social dynamics. And I would not have discovered that without the bullies, because I would never have gone into the whole field of reading people, right? And so I discovered an ability that I wouldn't have otherwise unlocked, and that helped me to read people very quickly, understand them, and use those patterns, copy them, and control them. And nobody knew how to do this.
So Adam, that's a crazy story. And
Sorry
I know
for
that
the
a lot
monologue.
of people. Oh no, that's fine. I mean, you know, that is a very deep story. I mean, I think a lot of viewers that watch this, including myself, you know, we have a mutual mentor, Dan Locke, as well too. You know, he's got the you know, invisible kid, and he also was bullied in school. So I think bullying is a very serious topic in the world today. But in fact, you know, two things happen out of that. Unfortunately, it's a very sad topic. There are people, you know, there's suicides, there's all kinds of trauma that happens, and then there's the others. And the others are the ones that fight back. The others are the ones that take, you know, they take setbacks and they turn into comebacks. And from what I know of you, you took that setback and turned it into a comeback. So maybe tell that part of the story, okay? Now, as you got older and you were interested in, you know, psychology and influencing people, you became a hypnosis, and you even worked in the corporate world, right? And you know, but then how did you get into high income skills, and how did you become an entrepreneur? How did you become a copywriter? Share that part of the journey.
I actually have to give 100% credit to that to my wife, because as soon as I grew, right, I left the corporate world. I had my own practice. I was coaching athletes and high-performing individuals. But it doesn't matter how far you've come, how great your skills are, or how great your mindset is. Sooner or later, you will hit a roadblock that you cannot face alone. And so I was there making 10, sometimes even 20 grand a month as a hypnotist in Austria, where the general hypnotist earns maybe $100 an hour. I was making 3 grand with one client alone. And I was coming home after 16-hour days, consistently coaching people, and the only thing I wanted to do was come home and play video games. And my wife saw that. Back then she was my girlfriend, right? And she saw that. And she saw that I actually was miserable, but I didn't see it. And so she started to say, like, can we spend time together? And I said, I would love to. Is it okay if we just sit next to each other while I like unload a bit in the game? And she says, no problem. Do you mind if I read to you? I said, no, absolutely not. I love your voice. Let's go. And when I left the corporate world, I was gifted a book called The Big Five for Life. She read the book, I didn't. She read the sequel called The Y Cafe, and the sequel of that book, Returning to the Y Cafe.
By the way, Adam, we're going to get you to give us the link, so we're going to post that in the description below of this video, so that way anyone who's interested in finding out these books, you can also find it in the description below. Keep going, Adam.
Absolutely. And basically, she was reading that to me, and I was listening with one ear as I was like slaying monsters with my oversized sword, right? And at one point in time, she read a sentence that still stuck with me. It was like, every person has their own private TV station, the programs they watch. And most people, when they see a bad program, they don't change it, they bitch about it. And that sentence triggered me to think, well, what am I feeding myself right now? Actually, I'm only going to work like an employee. I'm not growing. I help other people grow. And the rest of the time, I fill my unconscious mind with bullcrap. Like, I fill it with useless videos, with just useless gaming. Gaming is not always bad, but in this game it was. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna change that. And so I created a new YouTube channel for myself just to watch, where I start from scratch, and I was only watching motivational videos. Only that. And because of that, the algorithm one day showed me the unlock. And at first, I hated the guy. At first, I didn't like it. I was like, oh, come on. Another dude who flexes his car at me, like, bad mindset, right? But certain things he said were true. And so I kept following him. And then after a while, I realized, all right, I had the wrong mindset. I want to learn from this. And then I joined back then it was Dan on Demand. And I joined like every single session. I took notes, I learned, I implemented. And then it was the pitch for HTC. I watched a webinar, and it was announced it was live, but it wasn't at the time. And I was actually like saving the link, like trying to find the scam, right? And because I saved it this way, I actually wasn't able to register. I wanted to register on the spot, but I couldn't because of how I saved the link. There was no button. And so I was researching the internet for the link to it. It was an ordeal. And then came the time where I had the interview. And a funny thing happened, and I saw it as a test. And by the way, guys, I feel whole life, all of your life, you will always get tested, even if you don't know you are. So here's what happens. I register for the call, and it is at 8 a.m. my time, because at 8:30, I have a client. Now what happens? I am in the call in the Zoom room. The closer is there. I hear nothing. Guy's unmuted. Only thing I hear is some scratching on a microphone. And I wait and I wait and I wait. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, nothing's happening. I chat, no response. I'm like, this is weird. But wait, Deadlock is an Asian, right? And he's all about martial arts. Isn't there a Shaolin tradition where you will let people wait for 3 days in front of the monastery until they get accepted? That's a test. And so me, the most impatient person on the planet, stayed for 29 minutes in that call. The last minute, the closer comes on. And I asked him later, he told me it wasn't a test, he just had a whole lot of struggles technological wise. We have the call, I enroll, I join HTC. This was my first high income skill. Like, hypnosis was the first high income skill, but this was the first high income skill I understood as such. And that changed the game for me, because it changed the way I thought about money, because my father ruined the family because of money. He almost got my mom homeless. He made me believe that money is evil because he wanted money and we got destroyed. So money was bad. My mom taught me wanting money is bad. Sales is evil. Sales is bad. So this mindset change was extremely valuable because it helped me provide more value to people. And over the course of 4 weeks of an 8-week program, I raised my prices 4 times. Like, before the program was over, I made 50,000 euros in profit, only because of what I learned there.
So Adam, it's amazing, this journey of you going through from, being autistic and being bullied, and then after that, even getting into hypnosis and influencing people. Then you find Dan Locke, a mentor, you learn, high ticket closing, you increase your prices 4 times, make a bunch of money. How did you learn copywriting, and how did you then transition to the entrepreneur? Because I think that's what people want to know. And then along the way, what have been the lessons? If you were to just give 3 or 4 key lessons, what have those lessons been?
So as a closer, since I was very successful very quickly, Dan gave me the chance to lead one of his German closing accounts, actually the first one he ever had. And so I got leadership experience in this. And later down the year, there was the CIB event where he pitched HTM, where I learned leadership skills and how to make a skill like closing into an entrepreneurial thing by having other people with the same skill and leading them. That helped me to grow in there. And then later down next year, he pitched the copywriting course. And I enrolled in it, didn't take it super seriously in the beginning because I was a closer, right? But I learned it on the side. And the leadership skills helped me actually to get with a lot more influencers, because they weren't needing closers, they were needing leaders who guided the closers. And so I got a lot of contacts to a lot of powerful influencers. And then I noticed no leads coming in, no sales working. I said, what's the problem? The marketing was the problem. And then I thought, you know what, guys, I learned copywriting. Let me do this for you. I fix your marketing, and then we fix the leads. And so I became the entrepreneurial thinker, right? I have a certain set of skills. Entrepreneurs, which Dan taught us, entrepreneurs fix problems in exchange for money. And so I saw, okay, most problem they had, marketing was bad. I have a marketing skill. Let's implement that. I did. Leads got better. I got paid way more. Like I got a 5K check just to write one webinar in like maybe 2 days or so. And so therefore I noticed, all right, if I solve problems with my skills, it's not just an exchange of I work and you give me money. It's I solve a problem and I consistently get money from this. And then I noticed, okay, I don't want to be on the front anymore. I actually want to do something bigger. And this was only possible, and this is the next lesson. Many people, like, they see one course and then they put in their Instagram, now I'm a CEO of my own business. No, you're not. Like, you have zero experience. And if people say, oh, you can start this business with zero experience, yes, you can start it with zero experience, but you cannot run it with zero experience. And this is why mentors are important. That's like first lesson. Always have a mentor for whatever you want to do. If I want to get better in hypnosis, I get a hypnosis mentor. If I want to get better in sales, I get a sales mentor. Lucky for me, Dan had a lot of skills to offer, so I had a one-stop shop where I could go, right? And that helped me to go there. I invested, I think, 25 grand or 30 grand in him, and I regret not a single cent of that, because everything I learned made me an efficient, driven, clear, vision-driven entrepreneur that has an attitude that I find was the greatest gift I ever got from a mentor.
Adam, and your journey has not always been a bed of roses and beautiful, right? I know, I personally know some of your challenges, and at some points you even had debt collectors and being almost evicted. And then of course the pandemic happened, and quarantines and people being locked down. How did you overcome that? Like, what made you wake up in the morning? I mean, I think the average person, when they're under that much stress and pressure, they just want to curl into a ball and hide and maybe try to go to sleep or something. How did you overcome that? What made you wake up and stay focused on the journey, on the path?
3 things. Number 1, an unwavering faith. I remember in the event when Dan said faith is more important than facts. And that is 100% correct. Because let's say it this way. Let's say you have huge debt under you right now. You have a problem, you have lots of cash that you owe to people. That is a fact now. But if you get a windfall tomorrow, it's not a fact anymore. You can change things in the same day. So have the faith to push through no matter what. Second, be resourceful. Like before I was able to invest in the HTM course, for example, I had to go through an ordeal of different banks and things that didn't work out. Like this would take forever, this would take half an hour just to explain that. But basically, be resourceful, because everything you want in life, somebody has it. And with the right drive, the right connections, the right value you give, you can get it in a day or 2, or maybe a week. Sometimes it takes a month, but you can get it. You are not denied access to what you need. And third, it's the mindset of having no excuses, no opinions, and never be a victim. Why? Because if you have time for excuses, and I was the excuses guy, I always found a reason why I'm not to blame. the moment I stopped making excuses, I had time for solutions. Because let's say, oh, something doesn't work out. That's fate, that's a problem. Oh my God, why me? Poor boy, everybody hates me. It's my skin color. I can't do anything. Like, I didn't choose this. Who cares? What I do from now on changes who I am. Just because you're born in adversity doesn't mean it dictates your life. Your past is not your present, and your past doesn't dictate your future too.
So Adam, with all this success, congratulations. I mean, really well done. Where do what's the project that you're working on right now? Tell me more about that, because I know you've got a summit coming up as well too. You've been an amazing copywriter. You work with several influencers to help them with their marketing. So that is one of your high income skills that you've converted into a consulting business of sorts. But you've also got another venture on the go. Tell me more about that. What are you doing right now? What is the Adam Nassor, who is not only the entrepreneur, the coach, the consultant, but also what's the vision? Where are you going with your new project right now?
Remember when I said in the beginning, when I unlocked the conversational skills that made me able to stop bullying as an autistic victim, basically? I swore back then, the moment I found out how to transfer the superpowers into others, I will do so. And that's exactly why I am right now. It took me about 21 years to get here, but now I am. And my project right now is the Personal Power Summit. It's a 3-day event where I collected the most powerful speakers, people who are 10 times, 100 times more successful than I am. I'm grateful that I got them, right? And those people I gathered specifically for people who I have been. People who are struggling with bullying, people who feel like outcasts, they don't want to fit in, but they struggle still with being who they are. They don't know, okay, I don't want to fit in, but I don't know who I can be instead, right? So at this 3-day event, I gathered the best people on the topic to speak about it, to cover mental health, to cover your mindset, to find actionable steps to change your life the moment you leave. Why? Because I noticed that I have taken, I think, at least $100,000 worth of courses. And even though I have always been somebody who implemented greatly, most of the time, so many people didn't. 70% don't even log in. A course isn't helpful. Action steps are helpful. And so I designed the summit in a way that makes it easy for people to implement after the interview ends immediately. Not after 3 days, not after a while, immediately. And so this is my way of contributing to the world, giving back for the treasures and for the blessings I've been given, transforming my skills and my connections into a helpful platform for people who struggled like I did.
So Adam, we're going to put the link in the description below as well too. It is I wrote this down here, the Personal Power Summit. Now, if anyone's watching the recording though, and it's sometime in the future and the summit is already over, what's the best way that they can connect with you? What sort of value do you provide to the marketplace? What's the pain that they're feeling, and how can they contact you?
I will keep the recordings up. So even if they listen to this after the summit is done, they will still be able to get the recordings. But if they want to connect with me, just write me on Facebook. I don't check it very often, but it's the best way to reach me. And I help specifically influencers in the personal development niche to make sure that the message gets heard. Because the biggest problem most coaches have is they are good at what they do, but they are not very good at selling it. And because of that, their gift is wasted. So many people that would profit from them can't get to them because they talk about too many things or too little things, or not in the right way. It's the curse of knowledge.
So Adam, let me ask you this then, Adam. This is a question you once asked me when we were crafting up some of my copy as well too. If you had to go back in time and speak with a younger version of Adam, right? Maybe it's a viewer that's watching this as well too. Someone who's just getting started, where you were back in 2017, 18, and what would you say to that younger individual? What 3 lessons have you learned, and what would you do differently? What if you could go back and do it differently, what would you do differently?
I would go back before I was 12 years old, and I would tell myself the 3 things. Listen, buddy, you always had the feeling you're destined for greater things, and you're right. But this comes at a price. You will suffer like crazy. You're gonna get abused. You're gonna get cheated on. You're gonna get betrayed. You're gonna lose everything you ever hold dear. and it's going to be ripped away from you in the moment that you think you have it for sure. You will even believe that you don't have a right to feel loved, but all of this will transform you into a person that many, many years after you will be proud to call yourself. So take what comes and learn from it, because everything has a lesson. Number 2, gain skills. There is no problem, no disability, no mental block, no barrier that is real. There is always a skill set conquering and countering a weakness that you have. And third, even if authorities tell you that things are as they are, a psychologist will tell you that you will never leave the mental hospital if you don't take medication, because in the history of psychology has never happened. Tell him to shove his medication up his rear and tell him to rewrite history, because you're going to be the first one, because you are. So don't accept limits just because people believe they are there. Take what you get, everything is a lesson, become stronger, come back like a phoenix. And whenever everything is over, whatever you learned, transform it into a gift for the world, and you will be the happiest person in the world.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for sharing that. So, Adam, as we wrap up here, this is the last statement here. What does the future look like for Adam? You know, you've gone through all these different things here. Tell us about maybe the 1 year, the 3 year, the 10-year vision. You know, one sentence. What does it look like? Where's Adam going? Why should people follow you?
In 10 years, people will say, Tony Robbins, isn't this the American version of Adam Nassor? Because in 10 years from now, I will have created a personal development platform for Europe, which doesn't exist yet. And I will have changed millions of lives and showed them that they have not only the power, but the right and the duty to take control of their life.
That is awesome. It's super inspirational and powerful there, Adam. Thank you for joining us on the show here. By the way, if you want to check out some of the other episodes, if you haven't already done so, click on the I button up here, or just check out in the descriptions below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications. You can always check out the other playlists that we have on the channel to watch other inspirational stories. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. If you want Adam to come back and share more of his stories, or you have some questions from him, type in the comments below. I will personally make sure that Adam gets those questions, and he actually personally answers them back to you. Once again, thank you for joining on the show, and we'll see you in the next episode.